Okay, Henry, so jump up there and set up. I'm gonna circle you with this stick. We're gonna imagine that this is an electric fence, and if it touches you, you dead.
Let me back up just a little bit.
Okay. So you feel like you're in the place where you want to be.
And then you want me to keep it the whole way?
I want you to stay away from this fence the entire way, no touching, and just hit me a little half speed one. Show me what you got. Whew. Okay.
It's hard.
You did good. You only touched it right at the end. So you maintained your pelvic depth right there.
Okay, so today we're gonna be sharing with you this exercise and a few other exercises you need for that pro hip move that we see from the best in the world. Stay tuned.
Hey everybody, Milo Lines here, along with Henry Fall. We're out here at beautiful Superstition Mountain, and we've got an awesome video on tap. Henry, you've set up this post right here. What are we doing with this?
Yeah, we got a little bit of a plumbing pipe and a pool noodle here. Very creative, right? So we're talking about hip today, specifically a little more the left hip. We've talked a lot about trail hip in the past, but you know, they kind of go together. We want to look to create some flex and transition, right? What's the reasoning behind that, Milo? Why do we want to create a little bit of a flex?
Well, the number one reason is space.
Space.
It also allows us to aim things at the ball a little bit, or a little more at the ball anyway.
Yep.
So now we've got space to operate in, and we've got our system pointed down where we want it to be.
Perfect. So one of my PGA coaches way back when, they called it the sacred area. We want to get some space so we can have room in the sacred area. We don't want to impose on that area, right? So we see that all the time with early extension. We also see people backing up out of the way, so their head and chest kind of straightening out. No bueno, right?
Both very common issues. Both cause low point and face control problems.
Yep.
So
we got this noodle behind us here. We're going to show you a couple different angles of this, but essentially this is going to be, what would you say, right off my left glute here?
yeah, ideally I would like it like an inch behind, so when you're addressing the ball, no, it's right next to you.
Okay. So I don't even have it quite on. I have a wallet there too.
Yeah,
So
I like it like an inch to 2 inches behind you. That way you have to break through the wall.
Now, do we do this in our backswing?
No.
No.
No, we're maintaining our levels a little bit more in the majority of the backswing. Maybe at the very conclusion of the backswing, we start to see the pelvis kind of drop.
Yeah.
And we start to move through the wall. So we're adding depth.
And I actually feel like it's kind of on my left glute. It's not quite on tailbone. But when I just made that move in my backswing, my tailbone almost circled to it.
Yes.
I'm assuming that's that wind up we're creating, and it's almost sending me left into my landing phase, right?
Exactly.
So let me see if I can hit one slow, where I really try to get back to that. There we go. I got that little bit of a feeling.
You felt it.
That was pretty good. Now the stick gets a little in my way because it's pretty tall, but that gave a really nice feeling and visual. Now you could use a chair, you could use an alignment stick. Keep in mind the top of these are often a little sharp, so you gotta be a little careful. But that's a really good feeling for getting my hips back.
For sure.
And the best players in the world are making space.
The vast majority, for sure.
So what's the feeling though, Milo? Because, okay, they're saying, all right, I can get my hip back, but I could also just fall away from the ball, lose my relationship with the ball, but I would have created space. So how do we properly do this?
Well, there's a few different feelings that players will have, but the one that I like is in transition, we almost feel like we're bowing, hinging, as we re-square and continue to turn. So I'm staying away, like someone's gonna punch me in the gut, and I'm staying away from that. Don't touch me.
Okay, and that keeps basically that's keeping my chest down.
Yeah.
So my mic right here is more looking at the ball. We've talked about the shirt buttons before, more looking at the ball.
Yes.
And that allows the chest to get a little more open and more down, so we can kind of cover it, right? Everyone wants to cover it, right? Compress it.
Sure.
So that's the sensation. Okay, so let's hit one now from trail view. So we got the camera right behind me, looking at my booty, right? My tailbone.
Yep.
And we are gonna set up, same thing, get this noodle a little bit away from us, and really have to feel like I push back, push that left hip sort of back on an angle in transition. Now, I'm not really spinning, I'm just kind of pushing back, right?
So the first key is, once we're wound up like this, we shift on this like 45-degree angle that way.
Boom, that way, yeah.
And then you start to unwind.
Okay, so here we go. Set up, good wind up. Now my pelvis is on that angle where I can just kind of drop down that angle into that post. Go slow. Pretty good.
Yeah, that was money.
Okay, Milo, so now we're also going to do it on this sort of, I guess we could call it sort of target side. It's a little bit on an angle. This is one of my favorite angles to look at because I can really see the player from that front view and what they're doing with that lead side to get around the corner, their pelvis, that lead knee. Yeah. I love this angle.
I love this one. I get to see how the pelvis rotates, how the torso trades bands. It's really a cool angle to watch.
Now with somebody that's hitting driver, you're going to tend to see a little more extension. You're going to see that belt buckle rise a little bit more, but you're also swinging a much longer club. You're swinging a little bit faster, and you're not hitting, we don't need necessarily the down, right?
And we're also hitting it about this much later, because it's farther forward. So a lot of things are happening later in the motion.
For our purposes, I'm going to do the same thing here for you guys. So up to the top, get that sort of, you can see now my tailbone's pointing a little bit more to you now. Not a ton, where you don't need to overdo this. Just enough, and then I can kind of drop in, boom, I hit that stick. That's now giving me permission to get the chest down and get things, that lead side out of the way. So here we go, nice and slow. Pretty good.
Pretty money.
So that's one of my favorite drills because I have a tendency to get a little slidey, a little thrusty. We've talked about this pattern a lot with me and why exercises like this are so crucial for me.
Perfect.
Milo, why don't you hop in there and hit one? Now we don't set up exactly the same. You were saying that.
You stand closer to it. I'm shorter than you. My arms are longer than yours.
Okay. Show them that feel too that you were talking about transition. So that's that 45, that pelvis.
Yeah, the pelvis kind of glides a little bit this direction on a 45 and then turns back.
So big point there, guys. That belt buckle isn't getting to the camera right out of the gate.
No, we don't want to immediately start to spin. We have to land.
Get the pressure a little left. Get into that left leg a little bit.
Have to land first, and once we've landed, then you can unleash. You can let everything just get out of the way, but if you don't get landed, then it's no good. Okay, so I'm going to hit one here.
Milo, let me show you another exercise you can do real quick from this angle. Go ahead and hop in there. I'm going to take this out of the ground.
Okay.
So if you have a buddy, I can also go ahead and put my club right on your glute. I could put it on your calf. And either way is to kind of feel like you got to push into me a little bit there in transition.
Yeah.
So where would you like? I can do calf or glute. What do you like?
I don't know.
Where do you want it? I'll try one on the glute.
Let's feel one of each.
And you see how I kind of pushed into you? You had to resist me, right? Actually push into me a little bit more.
I had to push against you, yeah.
Yeah. Let's try the calf now. So either way is going to force you to get that lead side, that lead hip back. I'm just going to keep it on that calf. So did you feel like you had to just push back a little bit?
A little bit. Yeah, I felt like there was a little pressure wanting to push me that way that I had to fight.
So that's where I think those two exercises can be a little problematic because I'm almost needing to push you a little bit and you might have to kind of fight me, which, you know, the idea is great, don't get us wrong, but the problem is that now you could almost just be like firing your leg, or you could be landing in your heel to do it. We don't want to land in our heel. We see that all the time. So we still want to be able to, the key is to flex kind of neutrally, right, with our pressure.
So if we're going to do drills like that, we have to monitor and make sure that we're getting the intended result. We don't want to have somebody just immediately firing and cheating the system.
It's just like how we said turn in the backswing and get that tailbone a little bit towards the target, we don't want to overdo it. We don't want to straighten this right leg and overspin. It's more the back that we're wanting, right?
Yeah.
So again, like Milo said, you got to monitor this a little bit. And maybe the chair or that noodle would be a better
For me, I tend to like
practice.
those,
Yeah.
just because they give me a target to get my pelvis to kind of drop back a little bit.
Perfect.
And I like that idea. I don't really like the feeling, for me, in my own golf swing, of me trying to force my left leg to push back.
Yeah. Okay, Milo, so we got one other tool we can use that if you don't have a chair or a noodle, this can be a great sort of contraption to set up to help you push that left hip back and create space. So we got the Gbox here. Tell me how you want me to use this.
So in this scenario, we've set the Gbox up where it's basically almost touching your arms at address. So
Okay.
show us address.
Yep.
Okay.
So that the left elbow is almost just resting on it, pretty close.
Okay, and now if this lead side doesn't get away and turn, so just leave it in the way and move your arms out in front of you. Now throw them past you. What's going to happen?
Whack.
You're going to whack the box, right?
Yeah.
So this gives you a really good visual that in order for you to make a proper swing or a proper pivot, that lead side's got to get out of the way and give you clearance for your arms to now be able to swing.
Yep. And as we've said before, though, we can cheat this. We can just spin, but
Yes.
that's going to probably get combined with some thrust. So I'm really feeling, to me, like I flex right in this belt, right about in the middle of it. I'm
Yep.
flexing into it. Okay, so that's where the hips are flexing. And then I'm feeling like that goes down and back.
And then it pulls around behind you and gives you room for your arms to shoot.
So that roadmap would be down and back. So you see that box now going out that front side, boom. And I could just hit a few slow like that. Boom, back and away.
And that would be a good one. I want to film one of those from the lead side.
Let's do it. All right, so here we go again. Back, down and back. That's going that way on that angle. It's nice and slow. Back and away. Okay, so that's a really good tool you can use. It's very similar to the PVC pipe where we push back. This gives you a good visual because it's right on you and
Yeah.
it's pretty easy, right?
I think this one's easier to set up.
There you go. So if you guys don't have a Gbox, maybe look into one, we'll tag it above, but really loved how that made me push back. And again, it creates such a nice like flow to it too. I love that part of it. You said you had one last exercise for us. Am I taking a seat here? What's the deal?
We're actually going to use the backrest of this chair as kind of a hurdle. So if I'm doing a little pivot drill and I'm firing my hips incorrectly, then I would run up into that. What I want to feel like I'm going to do is I'm going to flex away from it and then I can turn, and you can see how I stayed
Nice.
away from this the whole time. It's a good way to get kind of an initial map or motor program in your mind. The hard part is I really can't hit with
No.
this here, so I can get a really good concept of what I need to do motion-wise without a club in hand. Then we've got to figure out how do we tie them together.
So you could hit like we showed earlier, and I'll bring that video up again, where you had an alignment stick around me at the beginning of this video. Kind of like more like a hula hoop we've done before, but that obviously takes a little training and you need someone else to help you with that. This sensation is really good, and all these other drills we've showed are awesome for creating that sort of pro hip move we see in transition that many of you at home just aren't making and are causing you a lot of issues. So like Milo said, build this roadmap and then go hit a few shots. Show them a couple little slow ones, ingraining that feel.
So what that felt like was wind up. Okay, so now I'm going to touch the ball.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't hit it perfect, but I moved
No,
how I
but
intended,
that's
I think.
That's a learning speed. And I love how there's some flow to that too. That landing and how we flex there creates that tour-like flow we see.
Yeah.
Because they're not just rushing out of the top and applying force. You see how there's more of a sequence.
Yep.
Right?
So we hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something about how to get the lead side out of the way. If you did, please hit that like and subscribe button. And come visit us at milolinesgolf.com, where we have many more drills and a whole series of how-to videos that can help you learn to swing more like an athlete.
Perfect. Let's do it.